Hi, and welcome to another episode of Prime 50 TV. I'm here again with Dr. Max.
Good to see you again, Chris.
Good to see you. How are you doing?
Good, very good.
Excellent. Today, I want to talk about nutritional deficiencies.
Right.
Particularly around the Strong Bones supplement product. So, what is it that's missing in the over 50s that this product's aim to help?
Right. Quite a lot, unfortunately, and that's the bad news, and that's why I am pushing supplementation very hard and very passionately. If you go back to the data, because that's the only thing that I really tend to believe as an ex-scientist, if you go back to the data that's generated by government scientists, government dietitians over many years, if you analyse the data, you find out very quickly that actually the over 50s, 60s, 70s and beyond are actually missing many key nutrients. They're not getting anywhere near the RDA for many key micronutrients, vitamins, minerals and other things.
And RDA is?
RDA is recommended daily allowance. That's like the target we should be aiming for most of the population. And there's a lot of science out there that is saying even the RDAs are really quite hopelessly out of date. You know, like vitamin D, for example, the RDA is 5 micrograms a day, which is a very small amount. Really, you know, if you look at the European RDA, it's over 10 micrograms, and some countries are 20 micrograms. Even the NHS are now saying we should be taking double the RDA, which is 10 micrograms. So the RDA is, in my opinion, really the minimal healthy dose.
So what is missing from people's diet, from people's health? What is missing in the over 50s?
Okay, so the scientists, they went into people's homes, they analysed the data in terms of, they weighed the food, what are people eating. The data goes back to the lab, and then the scientists crunch the data, and suddenly, hey presto, you find out that there is a whole stack of things missing. So if you just go through some of them, not all of them, otherwise we'll be here for hours, but if you take vitamin D, which everyone has heard of, and I think most people understand, actually, most of us are deficient, that's correct. 95% of us are not getting enough vitamin D in our food, 95%. Now, okay, a lot of us get sunlight, and we can make some vitamin D, but you know that's only really during summer months. And secondly, we have to expose our arms and legs to get that that sort of ultraviolet synthesis where we make the vitamin D from cholesterol in our skin. But as you get older, the rate at which we make that vitamin D in our skin is much slower, like a third of the rate when I was 25 years old. So vitamin D is the classic. But other things like calcium, about 40% of us are missing the RDA for calcium.
Okay.
That's not good for bone health. It's not good for digestive health because calcium is needed for digestion. It's not good for muscle health because calcium is needed for muscle health, and it goes on and on.
Okay, so what can all these deficiencies inevitably cause?
They can give rise to chronic ailments later in life, and really it can lead to chronic disease much later in life. So getting that right nutrition combined with exercise and sleep, the other part of the magic triangle, is really, really important. Now, obviously, we should be trying to get everything from a healthy diet. Things like this and vegetables, milk, meat, eggs, etc. The problem is the data says, though we've been hearing messages for many, many years about what we should eat and shouldn't eat, the general public is still quite confused. Because the science is never black and white, science is quite complex, and nutritional science is even more complex. That means that the vast majority of the over 50s are not getting the RDA, they are deficient in many key micronutrients. Magnesium, over 80% of us are not getting enough magnesium. Magnesium is involved in over 300 biochemical reactions, many of which are to do with DNA synthesis, etc., muscle health, bone health. Zinc, similar thing. Zinc is involved in bone health, but also in vision, also in immunity, and it's an antioxidant as well. And it goes on and on and on. So, being deficient, we can't really feel it necessarily, but if we want to be healthy later in life, we need to make sure we get the right nutrition.
So the old saying, an apple a day, doesn't actually work?
No, not. I mean, apples are fine. There's not that much nutrition in an apple in reality. Nice bit of fibre, a few vitamins and things, but no, we need a healthy, well-balanced diet. Some of us try our best to do that, but most days I certainly don't get all the fruit and veg that I should be eating.
Now, as you said, there's a lot of press out there about what you should and shouldn't be eating, and a lot of it's mixed, it's so complex. And there's also a lot of press out there that just says, grab a multivitamin. Head to your shop, grab a multivitamin, and it'll fix you.
Yeah. Now, that's a good point. I have nothing against multivitamins. They're fine as a little bit of a top-up of this, that and the other. A little bit of a top-up, that's all it is. With a multivitamin, the problem I see is that you're trying to do a little bit with everything, but you don't actually achieve everything. That's the problem. With Prime 50 supplements, and of course we're talking bones.
Yep.
Here we have fighting fatigue for energy, we have maintaining muscle, we also have other products such as healthy joints, healthy brain, vision, etc. The problem is with a multivit, you're not targeting any one area. With the Prime 50 products, these are targeted supplements. So we have formulated supplements, products to deal with that area, strong bones, healthy joints, etc. If you formulate a product to deal with a particular area, you can then formulate it correctly. For example, take muscle. I know it's nothing to do with bones, but take muscle. You need about 100 grams of protein a day. You can't get that in a multivit. You need to have a special product for that. Take healthy joints. You can't put all the chondroitin and glucosamine, etc., into a little multivitamin tablet. So it gives us a much better chance of producing a really high quality product which works if we target specific areas.
Okay, so talking about bone density, bone strength in particular, what is unique about the bone density? Why is that important in later life?
Okay, bone density is very important. The more dense our bones, the stronger they are, crudely speaking. As we get older, we tend to lose bone density, lose bone strength. If you look at the slide, for example, which is just on the monitor now, unfortunately, we tend to lose bone strength at around 30 years old. If you look at the slide of the male and the female lines, look at the female line, for example, which is the red line. We've got age along the bottom, we've got bone strength, bone density on the vertical axis, and you can see that by about 30, 33, you've got your maximum bone strength. The trouble is, you then start to lose it. It's a bit downhill after 30, unfortunately, for bone health. But with postmenopausal women at around the age of 50, 55 or whatever, there is a steep decline in bone density. And that's when, potentially osteoporosis can set in, which is where you lose a lot of bone density and you lose the skeleton strength of the bone.
That's the picture on the screen now, isn't it?
That is the picture on the screen, yeah. I mean, if you look at the X-ray photograph on the left-hand side, you can see what bone looks like under a microscope. There's a kind of framework of hydroxyapatite, which is phosphorus, calcium and other minerals, and the little holes in the middle are filled with protein. That gives it strength, a bit like the binding cement in bricks and mortar. You look at the micrograph on the right-hand side, that is an osteoporotic bone. That is a bone which is just about to fracture. It's called a fragility fracture. So this person might be walking around perfectly okay. All they do is knock their leg against a stool or something and it breaks. They're in hospital and they have to have a cast. That is a fragility fracture. There are around 300,000 fragility fractures every single year as a result of low bone density, and many of those, about a third of those, then go on to hip fractures. And the last thing we want as we get a bit older is a hip fracture, because the outcome isn't that good. And to quote a couple of statistics from the Musculoskeletal Journal, about 25% only really ever regain their former level of independence, which isn't great. And the really nasty statistic is just under 30% don't actually live beyond a year. That's the problem. Yeah. So we must do everything to protect our bone health.
So if they did have the right nutrition in the body, how much could have that been prevented?
A lot of it. I mean, some people genetically are predisposed to osteoporosis. But, as they say, it's 20% genes, 80% nutrition and exercise. Yep. I mean, that's very crude, I know. So there is a lot we can do to slow down that bone loss, because we all lose a bit of bone as we get older. That's fact. But if you're lacking calcium, lacking vitamin D, lacking zinc, magnesium, and one or two other things like boron, you will lose bone density much faster. And therefore, with the right nutrition, you can slow it down, but you can't actually reverse it. No. That's magic doesn't happen.
Yeah, and your products, I've looked at this in a great amount of detail. We've already mentioned it once, but I just want to pick it up again. They've looked at the scientific stats of this, and you've created a product to help with that. It has the ingredients in to give people the nutrients that they need?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I've talked to GPs, dietitians. I've talked to people, you know, Linus Pauling Institute, Tufts School of Nutrition in the US. I've obviously met dietitians in the UK, nutritional experts, people from, you know, various universities. So I've really gone to town with as much detail and science as possible. And the reason I've done it, one is because I've got a scientific background, but two, I know that the general public is totally confused with the rather mixed messages that we get on Google, the Daily Rag, etc. They are totally confused, and actually a lot of the over 50s are quite cynical. When we interviewed 1,000 of them, you know, the feedback we got was, I don't like all the marketing messages, I'm totally confused, blah, blah, blah. So I've been really specific. I've been as meticulous as I can be with the science.
And if they go to your website, prime50.co.uk, they can find the information there, can't they? That's relating to this product
Yes.
and the issues.
Loads of information. Also, you know, there's information on the QVC website. We're on QVC TV as well. We sell the products. They will only sell top quality products on QVC. We're also on Waitrose as well.
Yeah, you ship to Waitrose.
But obviously you can get them at good prices from the Prime 50 website too.
Yep. And so this is it. This is the Strong Bones.
That's the one. Yes.
How many of these a day?
Just one a day. Very simple. Okay for vegans, vegetarians. Obviously gluten-free, sugar-free, etc. You can. If you don't like tablets, you can throw it into a smoothie. It'll blend. You're not going to destroy the ingredients or whatever.
You can take it with the others, can't you?
Yes,
can take it with
absolutely.
fatigue yep.
Yeah, we have 4 products in the range. Well, we have 7 products in the range now. If you wanted to take 3 or 4 of the Prime 50 products together, you can do that. I get a lot of emails from people who are great Prime 50 followers and they want to take all the products. And I say, well, yeah, you can take 3, maybe 4. And the reason I'm confident is that what I've done is, for safety, I've studied what's called the European Upper Tolerable Limits. Sounds a bit boringly technical, but it's really important that people understand I've done the research to make sure these are absolutely safe for consumers by using ingredients which are safe. They've got a long history of safety and they've been very carefully chosen. They're not mega doses. Mega doses I don't like people walking into some shops and buying pure selenium or pure iron tablets. In fact, only GPs should really be prescribing iron because that can be a bit unsafe in the wrong hands. So I've been very, very careful to make this product very, very safe. It's also safe for people on meds as well. Now, I know we say on the box, check with your GP if you're on medication, which is always a good thing to do. But, you know, again, I knew that the vast majority of, you know, my Prime 50 customers would be on medication, being over 50, 60, etc. So again, I chose only the ingredients which did not interact with medication. So I just want to give the viewers confidence that this is a very, very safe and well-formulated product.
Brilliant. Thank you.
My pleasure.
If there is any questions, please do put them in the comment box and you can get hold of Dr. Max. Dr. Max will try and respond to as many people as he can. He's always on hand. And we are going to be back here next week as well, so do make sure that you tune in if you've got any more questions. We're going to be picking up on Strong Bones just for one more week, and then we're going to be moving on to fighting fatigue. So if you've got any questions, drop them in the comment box. Head over to the website as well, prime50.co.uk, and me and Max, Dr. Max, we look forward to seeing you again next week. Take care, everyone.